So it's happened again. We have another problem with blight. This year it's been our tomatoes, but now our Christmas potatoes have some blight as well, unfortunately. And I only actually planted these 4 weeks ago, and already they're showing signs of blight, and I've actually had to remove quite a lot of foliage already, unfortunately, on a few particular varieties. But yeah, I'm just going to be showing you, documenting this, so I can hopefully avoid this in the future. And I'm going to be going through a couple of methods to try and combat this, which I'll go through with you in a moment. Now, you may have watched my weekly update last week where I actually moved these potatoes from outside into the greenhouse, which was probably a wise decision because it's very, very wet. The wet weather probably would have made these even worse. So yes, last week there was no signs of blight, and actually these were doing really well. There was a lot of growth on them. But yeah, the blight has started to take hold now. I've cut a lot of foliage off. So yes, as I said before, we have cut off quite a bit of foliage already here. These were the worst affected ones. Now, that's a good method of trying to slow the spread of the blight down. It will slow it down and stop it from spreading as much. As you can see here, there's one example. Late tomato potato blight has these black blotches. See, there's yellowing leaves at the bottom of there. You can see there. I have cut most of them off, to be honest. I did this yesterday. But yeah, there's some more blight appearing here. Mostly unaffected over here, actually, to be honest. There are some of these are blight resistant varieties. I planted a few potatoes which were saved from last year's potato harvest, and they are blight resistant, Setanta and Sarpomera, I think. So these aren't really as badly affected. It's the Desiree and the Charlottes at the back. I think these three are Charlottes here, and yeah, they've not stood up very well actually against the blight. Whereas, you know, here, this plant looks alright, to be honest. But what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to be trying two methods of trying to control this, either stopping it from spreading any further or just getting rid of it entirely. We will see what happens. So we have a homemade solution here consisting of bicarbonate of soda, veg oil, and washing up liquid. And the washing up liquid and the veg oil are simply there to help the mixture adhere to the leaves and the stem. And the idea is that the bicarbonate of soda balances out the acidity on the surface of the leaf, makes it more alkaline, because blight thrives in an acid environment, such as on the leaves of potatoes and tomatoes. So that is what this solution does. Makes the surface of the plant more alkaline, so blight doesn't thrive. And the other solution which we're going to be using is hydrogen peroxide. I've got a 3% mixture of hydrogen peroxide here. I've diluted it, and it's a food grade hydrogen peroxide, but it is very, you know, it can burn your hands, so I am going to have to use gloves when I'm spraying this solution. So hydrogen peroxide, I'm not going to get into all the complicated sciencey stuff, but it basically just kills bacteria using oxidization. So we're going to try both of these, the homemade bicarbonate solution and the hydrogen peroxide, on these potato plants and see if it makes any sort of difference. It's not going to be a perfectly fair test though, because some plants are worse affected than others, but we're going to try and use both of them equally on, you know, the less affected plants and the worst affected plants, and see if we can get any sort of, you know, see what results we get, see what happens. I'm hoping that we can slow down the spread of this blight. I have obviously taken some leaves off already, as I said before, but you know, I want to do a Christmas potato reveal, and you know, we want some good potatoes for Christmas, so I'll be really, really gutted if we lose these plants. The greenhouse is open, allowing some airflow, and you know, vent open as well and stuff. So, you know, there is airflow, and we're going to keep it that way, I think. So these, we don't get stagnated air. Okay, so on 6 of these plants here, we're going to spray the bicarbonate of soda mixture, and then on these other 6 plants here, plus this one, it's 13 buckets, we're going to spray hydrogen peroxide. So not a fair test, but hopefully we can see some sort of results here. Okay, so spraying the leaves and the stems of these potato plants. I tried this with tomato plants actually, and I did find that it sort of slowed down the spread a little bit. It did make a difference, and hopefully, because we've caught this quite early, you know, we've only had blight on these for a couple of days now. Hopefully, it does make a difference, and they'll be much better in the greenhouse with proper ventilation, of course, than being outside, because yeah, it's very, very wet outside at the moment. Had a couple of days of just torrential rain. There's not actually much here. I've had to cut most of this back. We'll get the stems that are left. Hopefully these bounce back. Actually, I've found that, you know, when you cut them back, or, you know, sometimes in the spring, if they're affected by frost and they get taken down to the ground by the frost, they can grow back. So maybe that'll happen. We'll see. Hopefully, we have got like 2-3 months before we'll be harvesting these. So yeah, fingers crossed. The blight doesn't spread anymore, because they'll be gone by next month if this doesn't work. And you know, I think that the warm September weather we're having hasn't helped either, to be honest. It's been very, very warm month, quite wet recently, as I said before, but I just think the blight is still an issue, because, you know, warm, humid conditions that we usually get in July and August have just been carried through into September, really. So, you know, the blight is continuing, and I think that's going to be a normal thing from now on in the UK, because our summers are getting warmer, and our autumn months are also getting warmer as well. We've found that the summer is continuing into the autumn months. Last year I was getting tomatoes in November. So, okay, and for the rest of these plants, 7 more buckets, I'm going to be using the hydrogen peroxide mixture. Got my glove on there, and I'm being very careful where I'm spraying this as well, because yeah, it can burn your skin. I don't know if you can see that, guys, but if you can see that, there's some little bubbles on the end of that leaf, just there. And there's a few bubbles actually forming on the stems as well of the potato plants. And that's basically just the oxidization, the reaction with the hydrogen peroxide and the bacteria. So yeah, hopefully that's it doing its job, killing the blight. We will see. We will see. But we're going to come back in a few days and apply more of the bicarbonate mixture on them, and then the hydrogen peroxide mixture on these. We'll see what happens. And I'm obviously going to be taking off any leaves I see with blight on it as well. And hopefully we can either slow down the spread of the blight or get rid of it altogether. Because yeah, I'll be pretty gutted if the blight takes over and we lose all these, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to Christmas potatoes. I mean, hopefully we'll get something. You know, if these get taken out by blight, we'll have to cut them all down to the base, cut all the foliage down, stop the blight from going into the tubers. If that happens, we're probably going to get some very small new potatoes, but you know, at least it's something. So I think we'll get something. Okay, so not really the video I wanted to do today. I was going to put this in the Friday update, but we're going to be planting our garlic when the weather permits anyway. So I didn't want to put too much in Friday's update, to be honest. So I did this as a little separate update, and hopefully we can slow down the spread of the blight in our Christmas potatoes. It's been a funny year already, to be honest, growing wise. You know, tomato blight. We got away with potato blight on the main crop potatoes. We didn't really have a problem with that. But yeah, Christmas potatoes have some blight. So I'll keep you updated. I think we'll come back in a week's time and see how this progresses. If it gets any worse or if it slows down completely. You know, maybe the weather will change and it'll be less humid and that will slow things down, you know, when it turns cooler. Maybe this spray will slow things down, or maybe just picking off the infected foliage will stop the blight. We'll see. So come back next week and we will see what happens. So yes, that was just a little bit of a vlog video today. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed watching and found this information useful, then hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you can see whenever I upload new content like this. So that's all for now. I will see you in the next one. Happy gardening and stay safe.